You're tuning in to the Raised by Rentals program. This podcast will contain strong language and spoilers for decades-old media properties.
Join us.
Welcome, everybody. This is the podcast where we examine pop culture franchises of the VHS era, improv news stories, because your mama's so fat we can't see the drive-in screen, so we have to imagine how we might improve our favorite movies, TV, and games. I'm Josh.
Mike.
And we were Raised by Rentals. Mike, where were you when Williams Electronics released their signature, groundbreaking two-player video game that popularized the concept of tandem play and became a runaway hit during the arcade boom of the early 80s?
I was probably still peeing my bed because I was 2 years old.
Okay. Sub question. Would you fight an ostrich?
Oh, fuck yeah. I'd kick the shit out of a stork as well. Just saying.
Fuck them storks.
Always bringing babies and whatnot. What the fuck?
God, meddlers. That's all they are.
Our listeners are probably like, okay, I know what the title is because I saw the episode in my podcatcher, but what the fuck, you guys?
Exactly right. Well, we're here to talk about Joust. I refuse to bury the lead this time. We're getting right to the fucking point.
Oh, the seminal 1982 arcade classic.
In the grand tradition that we established ourselves of adapting video games with no story into fictional movies that will never actually exist, we are here to imagine what a movie adaptation would be like of the 1982 Atari and arcade classic Joust.
Yeah, that's for anyone that has never played this game, it is a weird fucking game, man. It's knights flying around on giant birds and knocking each other out of the sky over pits of lava.
Yep, that is the entire game right there. Exactly. Like
pretty much
happens.
there's a occasional pterodactyl that'll pop up and try to knock you off your bird, and there's a weird giant hand that'll come up out of the lava and try to grab you. Somehow doesn't burn you even though it's coated in lava. And yeah, when you kill the bad guys, they turn into eggs, and then you have to destroy the eggs. Otherwise, they come back as more powerful bad guys.
Right.
So it's a very strange game.
Right. It all makes perfect sense to me, of course, right? You have to defeat the flying buzzard-riding knights who turn into eggs, and you have to smash the eggs before they resurrect. Like, that happens all the time.
Of course. I mean, granted, as ridiculous as this game was, I pumped a lot of fucking quarters into this until we got a home version on the Commodore 64, which I played like crazy.
Yeah, I can't remember if we had this or if the game even existed ported to the Intellivision, which was the home console that I had in the era of the Atari. I don't remember. I remember, Bayou Billy and Pac-Man and stuff like that. I don't remember ever playing Joust at home. I definitely played it in the arcade, but it was never a game that I went back to very often. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think I probably forgot all about it until I read Ready Player One, the book by Ernest Cline. Yeah, it's not in the movie because in the movie they actually replace this element of the storyline with the race that happens toward the beginning of the movie. If you've ever seen that, not to get too far into the plot of that movie, but there's a quest to find Easter eggs, like literal Easter eggs, for some grand prize in Ready Player One, and you have to either win or solve the riddle of challenges. And the first challenge in the movie is this race that's like, I don't know, like any high definition video game racing game that you can possibly think of, but it was put into the movie, I'm assuming, because it's way more exciting than what happens in the book where the character plays Joust.
Yeah, no, I have seen the movie. I haven't seen it in a while. I remember seeing it in the theater and actually really enjoying it. And I did read the book. I like the book better than the movie, but the movie is a lot of fun. But yeah, Joust is not a very exciting game. It's got some cool art though, which I believe I'm probably going to say the last name wrong, but the artist's name was Python Angelo, I believe. But
Hell yeah.
his first name was fucking Python. How badass is that?
Absolutely. I fucking love that. Python Vladimir Angelo or Angelo or whatever, however you pronounce it. And he's from fucking Transylvania, by the way. Did you look that up? That little factoid up?
I mean, like, it couldn't get cooler. And his artwork is badass. Like, the side of the arcade cabinet and like the little the header board and stuff. It's got some really cool artwork on it, and it immediately invokes weird like post-apocalyptic imagery, at least in my mind, because you have like, you know, all these like destroyed like mountain peaks and lava, and there's like weird robotic birds and shit. Like, it's just, I don't know, it screams like weird sci-fi, you know, post-apocalyptic future.
Yeah, absolutely. Or some kind of like a weird like alternate history, like medieval time, but they had like cybernetics for some reason. You know?
Almost like He-Man, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I don't think I even drew that connection, but yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's that same sort of mashup where He-Man is like, they're both, you know, barbarians and high-tech science wizards.
I like that term, high-tech science wizard.
Well, I think that, yeah, the level of like science and magic that you see in Masters of the Universe is like that. And I'm going to butcher who quoted it. Was it Arthur C. Clarke? It probably wasn't. And someone's going to yell at me. But, you know, that concept that any system of science advanced enough will appear to be magic to people who don't understand it. And I think the Masters of the Universe does that exactly. This is a very similar sort of setup when you have these elements of what would look to be or seem to be a medieval setting, literally jousting, you know, with lances to defeat enemies, and it's some kind of a competition. There are knights, but yeah, they're riding on giant birds, specifically ostriches, storks, and buzzards. And yeah, there's, like you mentioned, there's a pterodactyl for some reason. Like, that's in the wrong time period. And that big hand that pops up out of the lava is apparently called the lava troll, according to the game lore. So it's like, it's a weird combo of lots of different types of things. But yeah, I definitely think it seems like some kind of a post-apocalyptic or dystopian future where, you know, society has advanced and then fallen again, and what results is this weird mishmash. So we have done some video games in the past where we have tried to do a fictional movie adaptation of the games. I probably should have brought up a list, you know, ahead of time before I started talking about it. But right off the bat, we did Trouble. I think that was the first one that we did.
Well, that would be a board game, because we did Trouble and Snakes and Ladders as board games, but then we did Street Fighter 2, we did Centipede, Pac-Man. I think that's all the video games that we did, but I know we did the board games of Monopoly, Trouble, and Snakes and Ladders.
Yeah.
So
I think you got them all.
But one real quick thing, this totally has nothing to do with anything we were going to talk about the story, but I just noticed this. I was looking at some photos from the arcade cabinets, and I think this is the only video game that has a button titled Flap. There is a directional joystick and a button that has wings on it that just says Flap. So you hit the button to flap the ostrich's wings.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. And it is a pretty simple game. Like, to your point, it's a side scroller, except it doesn't really scroll. It's like a static screen, but the characters can scroll around, like right to left, left to right, as you go off the screen. And yeah, you're just these little guys jumping around on giant birds, on platforms, avoiding lava, fighting these other knights, picking up the eggs so that you can prevent the knights from respawning. And I think some of the eggs have like power-ups in them, but I don't know, don't quote me on that. I actually haven't played this game in a long time. You mentioned, you know, you had played it. I must have played it as a kid and then promptly forgot all about it until Ready Player One. And then even today, preparing for this episode, I watched a bunch of playthrough videos on YouTube, but I don't remember if there was power-ups in those eggs. But you know what? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just points, but it maybe some of the different ports had different, because that's another thing back in the day is a lot of times when games would get ported to home systems, there would be different versions. So you'd have like, oh, this version of the home port comes with this this little additional extra. You know, it was a way, like, especially during the console war era, where it was like, oh no, you don't want a Nintendo, you want a Sega, or, you know, that bull crap. The different ports would sometimes have different editions. And then even weirder still is sometimes, like, you would hear like, okay, hey, they're making an Aladdin game, but they're two completely different games depending on the system you have. And so you wouldn't get the same experience twice, which I always found very odd. But yeah, that gets into the weeds about video game ports and stuff. But
hey man, we always go down these weird side tangents. So yeah, we're not bearing the lead. We're gonna get to the fucking point today. So let's do this. Let's imagine, just as we did for Pac-Man and Centipede not that long ago, let's imagine what a Hollywood silver screen adaptation would be of Joust. There's a little bit more story that you can imply than in something like, you know, Centipede.
Right.
But I think we probably have a lot of leeway to kind of do whatever we want. Unfortunately, the seemingly dystopian setting and like the fighting, it lends itself pretty easily to, it's a story about some kind of a competition or tournament, or, you know, a fight against like enemy knights. Like, you know, we can build a story around that.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I think first and foremost, we have to discuss the setting. So I mean, as you said, this definitely is like that weird mishmash of like medieval with, you know, technology and all that. And I think the best way to do this is throw it in some kind of far-flung future, like an undisclosed future, after some type of annihilation event. So whether it be like World War III, or, you know, like some kind of societal collapse happened, wars, blah blah blah, the landscape would be destroyed, and eventually mankind would start putting back together the pieces. And I feel like if that were to actually happen, you would have these little kingdoms popping up, because people tend to band together. You know, they tend to follow someone who seems powerful. Like, that's just human nature to look for a leader. And I feel like that would happen. And if society were to collapse, you would get these pockets of humanity popping up all over the place. And so we could kind of start there. It's like, so some kind of annihilation event happens. We are now in a future that exists with mutations and very harsh landscapes.
Yeah. I'm picturing in my head, you know, something like Mad Max or Solar Babies that we talked about earlier in the season, where it's, you know, it's a lot of desert and dry, cracked, sere, sun-scorched ground, but yet there's these like little oases. And I think if you were to think about it, you know, long enough to justify it in some way, we can imagine that maybe there's like lava that's exposed around this one village, but like the lava is like bringing up nutrients from like underground and causing a weird like weather system so that it rains there, or some bullshit to justify and explain why there is this like lush green oasis with like farmlands and stuff, but it's completely surrounded, you know, by just endless miles of cracked, desiccated ground.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's the right type of visual for this type of story. So, and the reason I brought up mutations, like, I figure maybe some kind of like nuclear event happened, but like, to have birds large enough for people to ride on, I feel like yeah, I know an ostrich is big enough for a person to get on top of, but they don't fucking fly, you know. And in the game they fly, so it's like, and carry a person.
Yeah,
So,
and despite the fact that, you know, storks traditionally, you know, carry babies to new parents, storks are not big enough to ride around on.
exactly. So these would have to be some kind of mutated wildlife. And again, going by the game art, which I'm looking at right now, both the stork and the ostrich, and the buzzards, it looks like, they all have like robotic limbs. So these would be like some kind of weird cybernetic mutant birds. So
Yes.
straight out of Ninja Turtles, you know.
Absolutely. I think that sounds awesome. Okay, so let's do this. Let's throw a couple of facts down talk about the origin of the game and the developers and all that, just for the purpose of repeating what we did with Pac-Man, where we can have some names to pull from, maybe some concepts will jump out at us. I think we've already agreed, sort of, silently amongst each other from what we were talking about, that we need to have a big bad named Python.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. Python is totally the big bad of this movie.
Absolutely. Okay, so real quick, we get Williams Electronics is the company that developed the game. It came out in 1982, originally as an arcade cabinet game. It was not the first two-player tandem video game, but it was the one that popularized that concept. So it really became famous because two people could play at the same time, one controlling the ostrich-rider and one controlling the stork-rider, a concept that was later completely copied for the original Mario Brothers game, where you have the same concept of a static screen, but the characters kind of scroll off the right to the left and left to the right, and you're jumping around on platforms. So if you've never played Joust, but you've seen the original Mario Brothers, the pre-Super Mario Brothers, you can picture what this looks like. It was a joystick game, one button. Again, it says flap. I don't know how that might lend itself to a story element, but maybe.
Someone's gonna yell, "Flap, bitch, flap!"
Oh man. Okay, so we already talked about the knights and the buzzards and the eggs and all that. There is a pterodactyl that shows at one point. There's the lava troll. There was a sequel that came out, I think in 1986. I forgot to write the year down, but it was called Survival of the Fittest. Not nearly as popular or well received as the original. And some notable names from the development team I didn't write down exactly what their roles were, but other than Python, we have Bill Futzenreuter, Janice Hendricks Woldenberg Miller, Tim Murphy, and John Kotlarek is how I was pronouncing that last name in my head. But most notably, the one that's the most interesting, and you noticed it too when we were chatting ahead of time, is the lead developer, the head of the team, was a guy named John Newcomer, which is a cool name.
Well, and not only is it a cool name, but figuring we would be pulling for characters, like that just really does seem like the lone wanderer, the guy who comes into town to start some shit. Like it's very Western, like gunslinger vibe to it.
Absolutely. I had the exact same idea. I'm picturing some kind of a scene where you get this, lonesome gunslinger type who comes into town and goes into some kind of a saloon or place in town where people are, congregating. And of course, the music cuts out and the chatter goes quiet and you hear some guy go, "And who might you be, newcomer?"
Right. Exactly.
Something like that. So yeah, I think that's cool, and I think that just immediately leads into a cool idea for a story here. Is you get some guy who comes from out of town, the wandering loner warrior in the wilderness. He's probably got some grizzled past, with lots of stories and wars and near escapes and dangerous scrapes that he got in, and now he's come to this little village. And I'm just immediately thinking, well, if a cowboy comes to town, gunslinger comes to town, there's got to be, some evil sheriff who, who's got their iron fist on like this little town, right?
Right.
And then that leads me to think like sheriff, like, Western, but also like Sheriff of Nottingham, like Robin Hood, coming to rob the rich, give to the poor, but, in another sense, basically, lead this lower class, this peasant class, into some kind of victory over, their feudal lords.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, and that's just all coming from Newcomer.
Right. Okay. Here's kind of what I'm picturing. Like, I again agree that Newcomer is going to have to be the lead character. Like that, he's going to be the ostrich rider. Python clearly is going to be the bad guy. We can fill in characters as we need them. We got plenty of names to pull from. So going back to the whole idea of like some kind of war that took place, some kind of annihilation event, and how like civilization would begin again by forming hierarchies. I almost imagine it would be like a new age of kings and kingdoms, like kind of like how in The Walking Dead you have Ezekiel, who kind of almost does like a kingdom. You know, he literally called the kingdom. You know, it's like it feels like that would kind of happen. So what if we have like you had mentioned an oasis? So there's this war-torn, scarred, just horrible, unlivable landscape where like maybe there's types of mutants and monsters, and maybe that's where the pterodactyls are, like the weird giant lizard birds, you know, and maybe they're not really pterodactyls, but like, you know, some kind of weird giant bird creature. So, and then we have that lava that you were talking about. So that would create like almost a natural border. That would create something that would be hard to invade. So if the main kingdom is on the other side, and you had mentioned it being like an oasis for whatever reason, like, you know, the weather events that happen in that area have created some kind of lush greenery where life could be sustained. So what if we do have a king over there? Let's just call him King Williams, because we got Williams Arcade. So
Sure.
King Williams. Yeah. So you know, maybe the first of the newcomers, way before the John Newcomer story, would be Python, and he ends up dethroning that king and taking over by force. So maybe it's, you know, I don't know, maybe he leads a band of like weird wasteland warriors into the kingdom and fucking takes it over, like what's his name, Lord Humongous, and you know, if it's something like that, like just walk away, you know, comes in and takes over the fucking kingdom. But maybe he ends up giving the people what they want. Like, people are inherently, I hate to say it, but I feel like people are inherently violent sometimes. So he creates some kind of blood sport tournament called Joust. Or survival of the fittest. We can even call it survival of the fittest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That could be like the name of the game. Like, it's the survival of the fittest, you know, tournament. And again, with the idea of having this medieval-esque setting, you see that in a lot of stories that are based in the Middle Ages, where you have these tournaments of, you know, knights that are jousting and melee fighting and archery competitions and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. I love this idea of this Mad Max element to, you know, Python and his, like, you know, desert mutant warriors. And I'm thinking, yes, definitely something along those lines of like Lord Humongous and all that. I think in terms of tone, Mad Max leads me to think about stuff like, you know, Tank Girl, and of course the sort of sillier versions of Mad Max, like in Beyond Thunderdome. And then I can't help but think of like Turbo Kid, you know.
Fuck yeah, I love that movie so much.
Yeah, and we mentioned that also earlier in one of our other episodes. I think it was the Solar Babies episode, where I love this idea of that sort of a future, because, you know, everything in Turbo Kid is like cranked up to 11. Like, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're like not ashamed of it, you know?
Oh, I love it so much. In fact, I will go on record. I've said this before, but that type of film is my most loved type of film. It doesn't always have to be in that setting per se, like a post-apocalyptic set, although I'm a huge fan of that setting. But that, like, turned it up to 11. Things that they don't have to make sense, because fuck it, it's a movie. Like stuff like Psycho Gorman, Hobo with a Shotgun, Guns Akimbo, all of those types of movies. I can't get enough of them. If, like, I really want to watch what is it, Boy Destroys World, I think it's called, or Boy, it's the guy who does Bob's voice in Bob's Burgers.
Oh yeah, Boy Destroys World. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it's one of the Skarsgårds, the Pennywise Skarsgård. I forget which one. But
it's Bill. I just looked it up.
yeah. It looks like that, like a crazy, over the top, like, action movie with just balls to the wall energy. So it's like I got to check that one out. But that type of film, like Turbo Kid, is just fucking awesome. And if we can do something like that with this, I am 100% in.
Hell yeah. And I think it just helps us to really, like, lean into the crazy concepts. Because, again, harkening back to Solar Babies, which I mentioned a few times, we did an episode earlier in the season. Solar Babies had a lot of crazy ideas, but they were taken very seriously. Like, they really presented this world with all these weird things, like, you know, like roller skating competitions to the death, you know. But, like, again, it was taken very seriously. But, like, well, what if it wasn't, though? Like, what if it was just fucking radical, you know?
But I almost feel like that's kind of the key to doing something like that, is, like, you put these rules in the world. Like, this is just how this world is. Why? I don't know, because fuck you. That's why. Like, it's just, it's like you can get away with it when you don't like you don't make a big deal out of the ridiculousness. Like, again, thinking of Hobo with a Shotgun, why is this entire town under the rule of the Drake? I don't know, it just is.
Yeah.
So, and no one questions it.
Exactly. The story presents those are the rules of the story. So you just go along with it. Like, in this world, that's what's going on. Just like in, Walking Dead, they never explain where the zombies come from. At least not in the comic book, they don't. You just go with it. Like, fine. Like, that's the world we live in. These are the rules,
Exactly.
And back to The Walking Dead, I'm also getting a real like Negan and the Saviors vibe off of Python and his dudes. These guys who just come in, and Python is just going to have this like, smug arrogance of like, this is all mine now, but he's going to treat the people working or living there as if like he's not there to conquer them. They're there to work for him. There's a message in that shift in thinking. Again, he's not there to rule. They're there to serve him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that would make sense. Like if King Williams, like if he literally like made himself out to be the king for whatever reason, maybe he's the guy who, first found this oasis and brought people in. Who knows? Whatever I mean, we could flesh it out if we wanted to, but so King Williams creates, this kingdom, and maybe he is a little pompous. Like again, using The Walking Dead, we keep talking about this, but was a Hilltop. When I forget, was it Gregory? I think was the guy who was running
Gregory
Hilltop.
Was in charge of Hilltop.
Yeah, how he was very pompous and full of himself, and almost like saw himself as like, I'm a savior of the people, but they need to serve him. So he kind of, maybe Williams is like that. Like he's very much like, I'm the reason you're alive. I found, the oasis. We could even call it the oasis. I found the oasis. If it wasn't for me, you would still be out there in the desert, scrounging for water, like just making it out to be like, he's the reason. All of you owe me your lives. And meanwhile, Python and his brigade, who have been battle hardened, living out in the fucking wastelands, are like, you know what? You don't deserve that. Fuck you. We're coming in. They take it over. Like they kill Williams. And maybe Python even like, I can picture him like standing on whatever structure is like the castle, quote unquote, standing there like holding Williams' head, being like, yeah, the king's dead. So do what I say or join him. Like I could almost see like that type of an attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's got to be some kind of a like passing of the scepter kind of a thing. And if we're leaning into like the Negan comparison, Negan has his vampire bat, right? His baseball bat, Lucille. And let's give Python like a weapon. So let's have it that King Williams, he had this like scepter, right? This kingly scepter. It's like this big ornate like jeweled and gold like rod with a big crystal at the top of it, but also it has like circuit boards and hoses for some reason, because you gotta like get the weird like steampunk dystopian look mixed into it, and right. and he refers to this as the Eye of Attar or the Atari.
I like that. Oh my god, the Eye of Attar. I like that. I said they're going, where the fuck is he pulling this name from? I didn't even realize what you were doing.
Yeah, so it's like this big, like overly ornate, like crystal, like scepter that King Williams would bear, and he would hold it up to the sun, and it would shine through the crystal and like create like rainbows or whatever. And he, all the people would ooh and ah at like the magic of the king. And then fucking Python just like takes the scepter and he just like swings it around like a baseball bat. He uses it as a walking cane, like he doesn't give a shit, But he's got the Eye of Attar, so he's in charge,
Right. And yeah, and so like maybe, and again, we've talked about how it's like technologically advanced because it is the far-flung future. So they would still have scraps of technology, and then that would be, people would build upon that, like reverse engineer things. So we are going to have some crazy type of sci-fi stuff. So like there are going to be robots, there are going to be like cyborgs, just weird shit. So I like the idea of the floating islands that are in Joust that you land on. So what if for the competition that eventually Python will create above the lava pit, at one point around the lava pit, what if he creates like, and I know it's not technically circular in the game, but the fact that you can kind of wrap around the screen tells me there is something that we're not seeing. But imagine like a bunch of concentric like broken circles, like going up into the sky above the lava pit, but having like weird, like either propellers or like, you know, jet engines or something on the bottom, like kind of keeping them afloat, but having like big metal cords attached from each side of the platform, attaching to other buildings. So it's like we're suspending them at this height, and then we're using this like propulsion system to keep them like moving a little bit, so we can then like cut one of the cords and drop the platforms, because later in the game the platforms crumble and fall away.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have
Mm-hmm.
to have some kind of like hazard. I'm picturing visually how it would look, almost like in Super Mario Brothers the movie, like that type
Mm-hmm.
of technology.
Absolutely. I'm picturing kind of like a Mega Man kind of a feel to it as well when you mention like the little propellers that like hold up the platforms. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So let's have it that Python has taken over Williams's keep or his castle that's sort of like dug into let's have it be like a mesa or like a, you know, one of these like sort of like flat top mountains that just comes out of nowhere in the middle of the desert. You know what I mean? Like you see
Ooh,
in like
yeah.
Utah and Arizona, and he has a castle that was like dug into it. Of course, maybe it looks like a skull, and he like puts the eye of Atar like, you know, up in one of the skull eyes or something. You know, whatever, some kind of a cool
Nice.
visual. And but it's like the castle part is like up high, and then so he can like look down on the villagers in the oasis down below, and you know, he's sort of ruling over them, both Williams or Python ruling over the villagers as they go about their lives, you know, farming and raising livestock and all of this, but they're always in poverty. They're peasants, and you know, they have to pay these ridiculous taxes up to, you know, their lord. And Python just kind of keeps that going because he's, you know, why would you stop it? He's got a good thing going, you know.
Oh, of course.
And yeah, so he sets up this game where, yeah, you have this, let's have it be sort of like a spiral where at the foot of it you can step onto a low platform like from the village, and that's like there's like this entrance gate, you know, there's like ceremonial entrance gate for, you know, whoever is going to enter into the games. You go through the gate, you get on that first platform, and then you can like walk up the other platforms or hop up in this like, you know, spiral all the way up to if you get to the top, there's like an observation deck, like, you know, the fucking Pope comes out and like Python, like where he watches the games. And if you can get up to that deck, you know, you theoretically would get to like, you know, fight Python and challenge him for rule. But, you know, of course, no one's ever gotten that high before.
Oh, of course not. Well, and that's the thing. We're going to have some henchmen for Python, because remember, he's leading a band of fucking mutant, battle scarred wastelanders. He's got to have a couple like sergeants, like every fucking crazy ruler in any version of video games, movies, comic book. They always have their henchmen. So it's Beastman and Evil Lyn to Skeletor. Like we need something like that. But we also are going to need like the fodder for the tournament. So now here's my question. Would Python have like, would he just force villagers to compete for his entertainment, or would he take like mutants from the wasteland and arm them up like almost like the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings and just fucking throw them on the back of a robo buzzard and send them to, you know, to die for his entertainment?
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking again, keeping in line with what we said about The Walking Dead and Negan and the Saviors. Yeah, let's have it that the Wastelanders, who, you know, they came out of the desert, but it was a big group, and now they're the upper class because they're all in good with
I like
Python. That. So the games are basically the villagers versus the Wastelanders. And of course, the Wastelanders have the upper hand because they've got better gear, better technology. They have the higher ground, you know, starting from the keep. But the villagers compete, and let's have it be that, like, you know, they don't have to compete, but of course they do anyway because it's, you know, they're sort of being, you know, they're being voluntold that they have to, you know.
Well, plus it could kind of be like in, again, yeah, I know we keep going back to Walking Dead, but it's almost kind of like in The Walking Dead how Negan would tell any of the women, like, oh, if you want a better life, you have to like basically join my concubine. So it's like, it's a horrible thing to do, but you're going to better your life by doing it. So maybe it could be something like that. Like if you agree to the tournament, it's like leading up to the tournament, you get a week of like luxury, like you get food, you get to fucking bathe. Like, so it's almost like, oh shit, I really want that. And if you win or like if you don't die, you get to join the Wastelanders. So yeah, you're still below Python. You're not like gonna rule, but you're in a better position than you were. So maybe it is worth the risk.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So let's do that as well, and I'll add one element to it. Yeah. If you survive, and the survival threshold has to be like, let's say you make it to one of the mini bosses. Let's have two of them. We already mentioned before that this game had pterodactyls and this like lava troll. So the way that we're describing it, I'm not sure that the lava troll really works that well, but let's have it that one of these mini boss guys that works for Python, one of his henchmen is, they call him, the troll or something like that.
Yeah,
He's this real big motherfucker. And then you have this other guy. Oh, I'm picturing this. You have this other guy who is wearing the skin and like wings of one of these pterodactyl creatures as like an outfit, like Batman's cape.
Shit.
You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, he's got like one of their skulls as part of his helmet or like his cowl.
Yeah, exactly. And he like, on his gauntlets, he's got like the hand bones of the pterodactyl with like the wing skin, but it's all like shredded, but he still can glide around a little bit,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
That's awesome. So let's have it that if you make it to one of the mini bosses, just to them, it's like the challenge is, okay, you've made it up here, so now you can either join us, but if you join us, you have to sabotage one of the other players, or you can fight me, and if you fight me and win, you can challenge the other mini boss, and then you can challenge Python. So it's like, do you want to do, the 3 boss, gauntlet up to the top, or do you want to join us and kick somebody off? Yeah,
it's kind of like the game shows where it's like, do you want to take what you have, or do you want to go for the grand prize?
Yeah, exactly. And we can also have it be that like they're not just joining for like, a week of luxury and a chance to join the Wastelanders, but maybe let's have it be that there's more than one who fights at a time, maybe 3 or 4 at a time. Again, that way you have other villagers that you can sabotage if you make it to the mini boss. But let's have it also be that all these Wastelanders, as they're fighting, they all have this like prize pack, like this Easter egg that is like, it's like a capture the flag thing where like if you defeat one of them and you grab the egg is full of like credits or something that we like they could just quit right there and go back home and they're like, fuck yeah, I got an egg and now we can eat for like a week or something like that. You know?
Yeah, no. I love this. This is because again, like we talked about at the start of the show. In the game, they turn into eggs when you defeat an enemy. So yeah, if they have like a little satchel, and maybe like in that it's just a stone egg. It's symbolic, but if you get one, it's worth like so many credits. I like that idea a lot. So let's say you get one of these eggs, it's worth 1,000 credits. So yeah, you're gonna eat well for that fucking week, But the more you get, the better off you're gonna be. And then if you actually get up to the mini boss and you have that choice to make. Do I keep my credits and join the upper tier? Like I still gotta do what Python says, but I'm gonna be living better. Or do I want to go for the gold and try to take it all?
Yeah, and obviously, like nobody's ever done that before, successfully. Okay, so this is good, and then I have a little a little piece of side business that we can use to help with some motivation involving these eggs. So we'll get back to that in just a second. Okay, so let's get started. I think we have all this set up.
One thing I want to so we have the one henchman is like the big burly dude, and we're calling him the troll. What are we going to call the dude wearing the pterodactyl stuff?
Oh, well, he's Terror-dactyl.
Dude. You had that on deck so quick.
Oh yeah, I had that one in the holster ready to draw.
Okay, I'm writing that down because I'm trying to keep track of all this so I can remember it all. Oh my god, because I got Eye of Atar, the troll, and now Terror-dactyl. That's fucking great. All right.
Okay,
Python's the big bad. Okay.
Okay, so the story starts with like, newcomer, walks out of the desert and he's either riding or leading an ostrich. And it's like this big motherfucker, a big overgrown mutant ostrich. And his ostrich has like, maybe not like cyborg legs, but like he's like all armored up. And I'm picturing the one eye is missing and it has this like plate like riveted over the side of its face to like cover the hole where the eye used to be. And just like it's He's grizzled. They're both grizzled, both newcomer and his ostrich. They've seen some shit, and he's basically he's coming out of the sunrise, out of the wilderness, and he comes into the village, and yeah, he goes in and he's like looking for water, looking for food, something. And we don't have to step through this entire interaction bit by bit, but obviously people are going to be like, and who might you be, newcomer, and kind of start calling him that, and he's this like strong silent type. He doesn't even really say like what his name is. He's just like, look, I don't need anything. I don't need any trouble. He's like, I don't want anything from you other than some food and water. I don't need any trouble. I'm just passing through. And of course, they're admiring his bird, and you hear people whispering. Little kids are like, oh, that ostrich would like win in the games, like hands down. Like, oh, that'd be amazing. I wish I had a bird like that. And you're kind of like getting some of this explanation. And of course, maybe somebody will even offer to like buy it from him. Like, we'll need that in the in the tournament coming up soon. And of course, he's not going to sell his buddy, his best friend, his loyal steed. But through this whole encounter of newcomer coming into the village, and the villagers in this like little saloon area kind of asking questions, and you're going to learn as the audience. We're going to get this expository dialogue that we talk about, where we're going to hear all about that the new jousting tournament starts tomorrow, and the whole village is kind of abuzz because they're both excited and terrified.
Fuck yeah. Okay, here I want to set some visuals just because I can't get this out of my head, so I got to say it. We talked about how this is like like a new world after the Annihilation event. Like mankind are picking through the rubble of the past to create the future. So I imagine the looks would be this mishmash of all like different cultures and time periods and styles. So you mentioned the robotic, or like maybe not cybernetic, but like armored ostrich. I like the idea of some of it maybe being cybernetic. So like maybe like one leg from like the knee down is like a robo leg, and it's got like these big sharp like steel talons on it. And he's got like a little you said the riveted thing in his eye. Maybe he's got like some neck armor, like a couple like rings around its neck type of thing. But I'm picturing newcomer. Like imagine, I always forget what they're called, but I think of it as the Raiden hat from Mortal Kombat, the Chinese farmer hat. So because if he's coming from the desert, he's going to want something with cover. So imagine like wearing something like that, but with a duster, and then having like two daggers like in a sheath on his front, almost like medieval daggers. Like I just love this visual of like Western and like Japanese and medieval England. Like I just think it's a cool juxtaposition.
I love all of that. And he should have like long black hair with like feathers braided into it and stuff like that, just all these like random little things that are going to give hints to a backstory. Like he's got different pieces of like random jewelry. He's got like religious symbols. On the ostrich, there's like this big saddle with like packs and bags and straps and like old knives and like a little shield. And like maybe there's like a baby doll for some reason, give this guy some character.
Well, yeah, and like you'd mentioned the mesa, like in the oasis, like this carved out of the side of like the mountain. What if like some of the buildings are like the what are they is it Adobe or Adobo? Yeah,
Adobe.
Adobe, yeah. So like picture like those types of buildings, like almost like the stacked, like village with all the different like connecting platforms, but then have like some other like weird like cobblestone buildings, almost like a medieval well and shit like that, just all mixed together in this bizarre looking kingdom that also has technology. So maybe it's got like hanging lights between the buildings, and like there's an electrified fence around the front entrance. Like it's not just a gate, it's like picture an electric fence where like static electricity is jumping back and forth. So it's not constantly like visible, but you see it like snapping back and forth, so you don't want to cross that path. So I'm like picturing again this weird mix of tech and like the past, but going into town where they're talking about the tournament. So getting back to where you left off, he's in town, people are talking about the tournament. This is where he should meet the stork rider, whoever this, and I don't know why, like I immediately keep thinking of the Janice Woldenberg Miller, but we need a female lead. So why don't we just have whoever the champion of the people, that like the current champion of the people is going to be the stork rider. So we'll have her. Maybe that's Janice. What do you think?
Yeah. Janice is a stork rider. I like that. That's good. And I'm thinking of another character, a young hothead for the Easter egg idea that I had just a minute ago. So let's have a young hothead, and let's take Janice Woldenberg Miller. Her maiden name was Hendrix, so Hendrix is going to be our young hothead who's convinced that he can win the tournament, even though nobody else ever has.
Right. and like. What you know what, fuck it, I know this isn't possible in the game, but let's give him like one of the weird buzzards that the bad guys ride. Maybe
Okay.
he's got like it's like one that fell in battle and they brought it back to life all cyberized, so it's got like one cybernetic wing that's like constantly twitching.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got like that one red eye that looks like the laser on like a gun sight,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Real quick too about the village, I wanted to mention, you talk about like a mixture of the past and the future and these adobe things built into the walls, and it took me my brain in a few minutes to like circle back to this idea of like, well, this oasis and there's like this river of lava. Well, what if that lava also fuels geothermal pools and wells? So this is a steam powered village, and that's how the oasis is able to exist here, because they have hot springs, and then the steam power can be powering like big wheels that turn and turbines, and that's what's powering the fence and the lights and all that. And so of course there'll be some people who are workers there who just like they tend to these like natural hydroelectric sources.
I really like the visuals we're laying out like this. I want to see this. It sounds so fucking neat. I love that, dude. That's perfect.
Awesome, sweet. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love this whole idea of the Adobe thing too. That rather than just some like random grouping of like tents or whatever in like the middle of nowhere, it's like no, it's these like adobe houses built into the rock wall, and there's like steps carved in and like little alleyways, and it just makes the whole thing like way more interesting. So yeah, I'm getting really into this. I like the setting almost more than like the story. I guess we should tell the story.
yeah, we got to put a story somewhere in this setting, so why not? So yeah, so we have newcomer come to town, and again, like you said, strong silent type, almost like I'm picturing Roland the gunslinger from the Dark Tower.
Perfect. Analog, exactly.
And that's in fact, when you started describing him coming in from the desert, I immediately, the man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed.
Yeah, that's my favorite to this day, my favorite first line or first sentence in any book ever. The man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed. It's absolutely
so
perfect. It's so perfect.
Well, because it immediately tells you a story. Like just that one sentence tells you a fucking story. And when you were describing newcomer coming to town, that's immediately how I was picturing it. So yeah, he comes to town. We get the exposition, like you said, of all the villagers oohing and eyeing over like, his awesome mutant bird. And maybe like we have him run into Hendrix right off the bat. Like maybe he comes in, he brings his bird up to let's just call him Ozzy, because I can't think of another name for the ostrich, but he brings Ozzy up to like almost like a hitching post, outside of like, I don't want to say a saloon, but some kind of like somewhere where people from out of town would come to.
I think an inn fits with the medieval setting we're going for. The public house.
Exactly. So he hitches him up outside. But again, I'm picturing like the saloon doors and stuff. So he goes in and like people are all talking, and he wants to get some water. So he slaps some credits down, orders some water, and maybe Hendrix is like, so you enter in the tournament? Like, or like, hey, newcomer, you enter in the tournament type of thing, like just immediately off the bat. So we can get introduced to Hendrix and have him, going off about how he's going to win. He's not going to be content just taking a couple measly 1,000 credits from those low men, on the first couple of rungs of the spiral. He's going off, and then maybe like we can have Janice like step in and be like, shut up, Hendrix, and like ask like, so newcomer, what are you here for, like that kind of thing. And we can get the whole setup of the tournament out of the way in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, That's perfect. I love that. Yeah, we use Hendrix and Janice, yeah, like to describe all of this to newcomer, and mostly he's just kind of like listening and like enjoying his beer or whatever they served him, and he doesn't really want to get involved in the conversation, but he's willing to put up with it a little bit so that he can get his beer and his supplies and be on his way in peace. But yeah, he's going to get wrapped up in it. I wanted to get to the next day to get the tournament started, but in a lot of these types of movies, you'll see like they'll give newcomer like somewhere to stay for the night, and he'll go into his like little their version of a hotel room or something like that, or somebody's back shed where he's gonna sleep out. But of course he's gonna stay up late into the night like staring into the horizon.
Yep, of course.
Yeah, and then of course go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we could introduce during this like whole like tavern sequence is while this is going on, maybe we can have like Pterodactyl, got that name, Pterodactyl and the troll like come busting into the tavern and like maybe like show how they treat some of the villagers.
Mm-hmm.
So like shoving them aside, taking what they want, or maybe there's somebody that like owes money to Python. So they come in and they take what they need, and then they're like, you're behind on your payments type of thing, like crush the table that he's in front of. And then when he can't pay, maybe they drag him out into the street and kill him in some kind of brutal fashion. So newcomer gets a quick lesson on how bad it is there.
Yeah, that's perfect. And let's just have it be that it's like, the barkeep, right? The innkeeper, he's the one with the business, and yeah, he's the one who would have to kick up the most like taxes, like up to Python, right? So we'll just pick one of these names and we'll say it's Murphy the barkeep, and they bust in, and the little accent you just used, it made me think of like Idris Elba as the troll,
Nice.
And of course there's the gunslinger connection there too. Yeah, have them bust in so we get to see how like gnarly these guys are. Like they're big and they're scary looking, and Pterodactyl has this like fucking skin suit, and the troll is like huge and scarred, and he's got like chains all over his suit for some reason, and and these guys are just scary looking. Yeah, I like this. They bust in, and they're not like asking, they're just like, you owe money, pay up or come with us. Yeah, and they drag him out in the street and just execute him, and it's like and then they leave with a warning, like it's like a lesson to everybody that you have to pay up and live under the rule of Python, and if you want to live up there with us, you got to win the tournament, but until that happens, like pay up, that sort of thing. And then of course newcomer's going to watch all this and not do anything, and then that kind of gives him that excuse to like he's staring thoughtfully out into the wilderness at the horizon as like the moon crosses the sky, and he's thinking to himself like, what am I getting into here?
Right. But yeah, like, do we want to have him kill the bar or the tavern owner? Because here's what I'm picturing. Like, just follow me on this scene for a minute. So like have him like I'm picturing the troll with like these big fucking metal gauntlets, like just slam it down on the bar and like explain like you're behind on your payments, like that whole thing. And then like maybe the tavern owner is just like I'm sorry, I'll bring it in the morning, I swear I don't have it all, but I'll bring you what I got. And then maybe he's like not good enough and grabs his arm and just tears part of it off, like tears it off at the elbow, just snap, rip. And then we could even show some of the weird like future tech here, because maybe like Pterodactyl slaps like a little ring around the end of his arm, and it just like sucks down onto it, like compressing it so it doesn't bleed out. And then have him like literally holding the guy's hand, like pointing it back at him, being like, "Let this be a lesson. You miss your payment again, I'll take your fucking head." Like, and he walks out.
Yeah, I love that. And let's have him start that by like, when Murphy is like, no, I don't have it. And then you see that he's got like a wedding ring on, like nothing fancy, right? But just like a wedding ring. And then, the troll is like, like, we'll take this as a down payment. And he grabs his hand, like he shows Murphy his own ring, and then rips his fucking forearm or his hand off, like you said. And like, they patch him up. And I like this too, because again, it goes back to the Negan comparison, because they explained it better in the comics than in the show, but like Negan doesn't want to kill anybody. He punishes people because he wants them to serve him. Everybody he kills is one less people who's going to serve him and like pay taxes and like duty and tribute. So like killing people doesn't make any sense. That's why he never kills Rick, or he has the chance to kill a lot of the main characters over and over again, but the only ones that he kills are the ones that he feels like I have to send a lesson to everybody else, so I'm going to sacrifice one. But if I sacrifice all of them, then like what good does it do me, you know?
Right. Yeah, I got nothing left.
Okay, so this is good. So let's skip to the next day, and like, you know, there's like a little celebration, and like people are like a buzz, but like it's not exactly excitement, you know. It's like nerves and anxiety, and some people are kind of happy, you know. Of course, Hendrix is all, you know, he's crowing and he's excited because it's finally his chance, you know. Maybe like his mom or dad or somebody is there, and they're trying to talk him out of it, and you know, you get some story about how like, you know, you had your chance, now I'm old enough, you know.
Right.
And I think it'd be funny if he's like, you know, me and Flip here, we're gonna like win the day. His buzzard that he raised, you know, and fixed and like, you know, to be his own is Flip the bird.
Nice.
Yeah, so and we're almost like setting up Hendrix to be a little bit of like a main character, you know, like, you know, he's taken the forefront of the attention other than a newcomer, but of course, you know. It doesn't bode well for him in this tournament, right? But I don't want to kill him right away. But yeah, so we get the tournament started. You know, they blow you see Python come out on his like balcony and like wave to the people and make some kind of announcement. We get to see him for the first time, at least from the waist up. And you know, they blow some kind of like giant, crazy looking horn, and you know, the games are on. And then it's just, you see the knights flying around in their like robo buzzards, and you know, maybe it's like 5 people from the village. It's like Hendrix and like 4 other people. You know, he's the youngest one by far. The other ones are like older, and they've made it through and survived by the skin of their teeth like a couple of times, you know. But you know, they're not looking forward to it. This is just sacrifices they make for their family. Hendrix is you know, he's what's the word, he's got hubris, you know.
Right.
So let's talk about the tournament a little bit, but the reason I wanted to mention Hendrix, I'm going to jump ahead to kind of like play my hand here, is I want to have it that Hendrix gets one of the eggs, so he's like at least partially successful, and you see it in his face that he's like, oh, like I could go for the gold. Like all I gotta do is get up there to like the next platform and like face pterodactyl. Like I'm so close. But he like looks back and like there's his mom and his dad, and they're like, you know, they're happy crying because they're like, oh, he got an egg, he got an egg. And you know, you see Hendrix, he's not a complete jerk, and you know, have him make the decision to like, okay, like I quit. You know, you have to like throw in the like literally like throw in the towel to like let everyone know that like you're out of the game, and he flies his bird back down. Because I want him to have that egg. What I want is to show more of the cruelty of these Wastelander guys by having it be that like the next day, and again, I'm skipping ahead so we can back up and talk about the jousting tournament, but that have it be that the next day Hendrix goes, or his dad goes to like turn in the egg for like all the credits they're supposed to have. So like the Wastelanders come to like, you know, get their tribute of, you know, money and crops or whatever the hell, and haha, they got the egg. Like they're so excited, they're like set for the year. But instead, the knight who was defeated by Hendrix, he's so pissed off that he got defeated, this, you know, unnamed knight, that he just comes up, snatches the egg from like Hendrix or his dad, and is like, give me that, that's mine. Doesn't want to pay anything. They get into like a little bit of an argument, which turns into a scuffle, and then the knight just casually, you know, shoots Hendrix's dad in the head, or like slices his throat or something. Just cruelty, you know, like even more cruel than what you would see with Pterodactyl and the Troll, because, you know, this is a low level guy who feels like he was one upped by these like stupid peasant villagers, and
Right.
he's breaking the rules. But it's this act of injustice that takes place like late in the first act of our story that I think is going to help like spur newcomer into like wanting to take action. So again, I'm jumping ahead to play my hand so you kind of know what like where I was hoping to go for that. So
Right.
if we want, we can back up and talk a little bit about, you know, what happens in the tournament and like where's newcomer in all of this.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. So here's what I'm picturing for the start of the tournament. Like you had mentioned, like obviously we're gonna have several people. We know Hendrix is gonna be there. We know Janice is gonna be the Stork Rider. So maybe this is like maybe Janice is like taking over for her father who died in the tournament the year before, something like that.
Hmm.
Like she has like sisters and a mom, like she's trying to take care of her family. She's the eldest daughter. Obviously her mom's terrified, doesn't want her doing this, but she feels like she has to pick up the mantle, after her dad died in the tournament. It's like, no,
Hmm.
I'm going to not only honor my father, but I'm going to take care of my family. So, she has like a noble reason why she's joining. Hendrix, like he does too, but he's like, he wants the glory, he wants to
Hmm.
fucking win. And then have like a couple other like you said, maybe a couple grizzled vets who've done this a few other years, got their egg, and then they were done, like I'm out, so they
Hmm.
lived another day. So we'll have the robo buzzards and the knights, so they all go in, and like maybe it's not immediately to the death, like maybe it's can if you're defeated like 3 times, because I think you get like what 3 lives in the game, something like that. So maybe it's like
Hmm.
in that round, like maybe Janice fells one of the knights, one of the like grizzled dudes gets taken down, but he still has 2 more chances. One of the other guys like just barely. Maybe we could have a death here. Maybe he like just barely gets one of the knights, but he gets knocked off of his steed and falls to his death in the lava. So like we can see like, oh shit, like this is a brutal game type of thing. But to your point, Hendrix wins. Like he fells one of the knights, just like Janice did. He's excited. Maybe it was like we could even do it like tiers, right? So there's like the lead knight who has like the most valuable egg, and
Hmm.
then we have like a couple other knights who have like it's worth something, but it's not a ton. So maybe Janice gets one of those. One of the grizzled guys, like I said, gets knocked off his bird to his death. The other guy takes a knee, he loses, and then Hendrix gets like the badass of the group. Like he
Yeah.
gets the big guy. So which is
Oh,
why it's like so important.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's call that guy Kotlarik. Kotlarik is like the head knight.
Yes.
And let's have it be a 3-day tournament where the first day it's kind of easy, right? The whole idea,
Yeah.
because it's like a whole big like festival. Like, of course, Python wants to make it seem like it's a celebration, Yeah. So on the first day, Hendrix wins the first day. Maybe the rules are on the first day. It's either the first person who gets an egg, or there's like a timer. Like by the time the sun sets, whoever's still alive, like they blow the horn and it's over for the day. You get to try again tomorrow, right? Or
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
if somebody gets an egg, it's like catching the golden snitch. Like the game's over, come back tomorrow. And then the next day, it's like the stakes are higher. Like it's harder to win. There's more knights. Maybe the platforms are moving around crazy or moving up and down and side to side. So like there's the danger of falling. Yeah, and I like all this too. Yeah, let's kill one of these guys. Let's have 5 people, right? You said Hendrix,
Mhm.
Janice, one of the older guys that gets killed, just some other guy who kind of gets hurt, and let's have
Uh,
another. Go
let's
ahead,
say Miller and let's just say Miller and Angelo.
Miller and Angelo. Okay, so let's have Miller and Angelo. So Angelo is the guy who gets hurt. Let's have Miller be like the old guy. No, we don't have to name the old guy who dies. Like sorry, old grizzled champion.
Right.
Let's have Miller be the brother of one of the Wastelanders who won a previous tournament, or who got to the level where he chose to join. So now Miller is both pissed off and jealous and like really wants to get up there, but you don't know, like, is he going up there because he wants to like kill his brother and out of revenge, or is he going up there because he wants to join his brother because he's jealous? But like we don't exactly know, but we just know that he keeps looking up there and seeing his bro, like, on like the balcony watching.
Nice. Okay. Ooh, I like this. We're adding a lot of extra elements that I didn't
Yeah.
expect, and I'm loving this. Um.
Yeah, and
So
maybe
I'm
on
sorry.
day
Go ahead.
two, maybe on day 2 or day 3, like his brother can be one of the knights. Like as they up the ante, now it's like, okay, like we got to have more people on the field, and now Miller has to face his older brother or something.
Ooh, yeah, brother against brother. That would be interesting. So yeah, so to your point, like after the first day, so the first night, everyone is celebrating. Hendrix got like not only did 4 of the 5 contestants survive, But we have two of them actually defeated a knight, and one of the knights that got defeated was the big bad of that round. Like, it wasn't just because maybe normally like people try to avoid what is it, Kutlaric? Is that how you say it?
Kutlaric, yeah, Kutlaric.
So normally people try to like just dodge and avoid Kutlaric while they try to go after the lower level knights just to get some kind of prize, but Hendrix was like, fuck that, and he maybe he gets the drop on Kutlaric while he's like chasing after Janice, like he's flying after like trying to get her off the stork, and Hendrix comes up from behind, is like pop and fucking gets him, and wins the egg. So now fast forward to that evening. At the tavern, people are, they're cheering, they're lifting Hendrix up on their shoulders. Everyone's so excited. There's like music playing, this giant festival. And again, newcomers just kind of watching it all. He's kind of taking it all in. Maybe Janice and her family are just like, thankfully, like, eating dinner, like, because of the money she was able to win from the tournament. And then to like what you said, where the, Hendrix's dad goes to turn in the egg, and then Kutlaric comes out of nowhere and he's like, that's mine, or you have something that belongs to me. And like, maybe he like crushes his hand or something. Like he grabs the hand that's holding the egg, and just like you hear bones breaking. And like,
God, yeah.
And have him, like, the dad starts screaming out, and have like Hendrix go to stop him. And maybe he just backhands the kid. Cause again, this is an armored fucking grizzled, guy. So he's hitting people with fucking metal. And then like, maybe he takes the egg back, and he looks at Hendrix and he's like, let this be a lesson to you. And he fucking cuts his dad's throat right in front of him.
Oh, God, yeah. I love that. And I'm also picturing when Kutlaric backhands Hendrix in the face. Pretty boy Hendrix, have him like knock his like front teeth out, right? Just to like add insult to injury. Then now he's like, ruin the dude's face. And then he kills his dad and takes his egg, like his fortune. And it's like, what the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
So of course newcomer sees all this like through the window or something, or you see him, maybe he was like trying to lead Ozzy away, like they were going to leave, and he sees it down the alleyway or whatever, because we got to have newcomers see the act of injustice to start stoking in him this motivation that, maybe he needs to like get involved. And, he doesn't want to be the savior of this little town, but, his hand might be forced.
Right. I don't think he should join just yet. I think he should join on the third day of the tournament. So like have the second day, like maybe like, so then the next day, he stays and he's watching. And the second day we get, Janice is returning, Miller is returning. Fuck it. Hendrix is, but now he's like, he's not going to be able to pay close attention. He's going to be very hot-headed because of what happened.
Oh yeah, he's pissed. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think there's a good ending here for Hendrix. I think he's going to go into the games hot-headed, blind with rage, and I think something else that's gonna, again, we're stoking a fire in newcomer. Newcomer's gonna see Hendrix just like basically run to his death because he's just gonna go flying and screaming at Kutlaric, but like Kutlaric's a seasoned warrior, and it's not gonna go well for Hendrix at all.
Right.
Yeah, and we got to see Miller and his brother fight either now or the next day. But I think now, here's what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking, we have the first day. The second day is harder. It's more brutal. Hendrix is going to go down, in a blaze of glory. And of course, it's a tragedy. And, even newcomer has to get perked up at that. Janice, maybe she's the one who wins this time. I would all really love to see her go up against like Pterodactyl. Like maybe she doesn't like win that fight, but maybe she gets his egg and then just bounces, and it's like, oh fuck, getting Kutlaric's egg was like one thing, but to get Pterodactyl's egg is like glory, right?
Right.
But I don't think that Miller and Angelo should make it to the next day. They either get too hurt, or Angelo's not here this time because he got hurt the first day. I want to see Miller fight his brother, but either he doesn't make it, or he's disqualified or something. Because I'm thinking that Janice and we're gonna have to put newcomer in the game, but they should be the only ones that go into day 3.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was imagining too, is that newcomer and Janice would be the only ones going into the last round before the boss fights. So in this second day of the tournament, we have Miller, Angelo, Janice, and Hendrix. do we want to add another one, or would it be just like, no, you just had 5 people and that's all you had, and because we lost one already, it's 4, 4 against 5, and then if people survive the next one, it'll be however many versus the next 5, that type of thing. Maybe we could make it where it's like, they need newcomer to join because they don't have enough people to continue forward.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I think we have to make it rule based. If we make it that newcomer just decides to join, we've painted ourselves into a damsel in distress corner, which I don't want. Let's just have it be by the end of the day, Janice is the only one left who's going to be able to join, and they basically come down and say like that, that's it, the games are over, Janice is disqualified, or she's the winner, but like that it's over, like no, there's no more chances. And of course Janice is like, well, what the fuck, like I can still compete tomorrow, and it's some bullshit rule that the troll pulls out of like, oh, you have to have at least 2, this isn't a one man fight, ha 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 ha, one man.
Right.
And so like we go into that night with like Janice trying to convince newcomer like, you got to help us, like look at your bird, like you can win and like no problem, like why are you sitting back and watching everybody get hurt and killed, like what the fuck is wrong with you, like step up, bitch.
Right.
And of course he doesn't want to do it because we know in his dark past like he's tried this before and like bad things happened or whatever. But yeah, so the next day, on the third day, Janice is out there like ready to start, and of course it's like, whoa, little missy, you're disqualified, like the games are over, and of course that's when the crowd is gonna part, and here comes newcomer on on Ozzy, like ready to like dramatically like join the fray.
Okay, all right. let's back up. I got a bunch of ideas here. So day 2. So we're gonna have this tournament for day 2. So we start the tournament with 4. So we have Angelo, Miller, Hendricks, and Janice. And they're going to be going up against 5, including Kutlarek, but there's going to be another champion in the mix because it's the next day. So we have, maybe it's not quite Pterodactyl yet, because I feel like that would be the day 3 champions.
Yeah.
So maybe we have, I don't know, like, I'm looking at the names here. We got Murphy, we got Miller, we already used Woldenberg, I don't know what we want to call him.
We haven't used this Bill like Futzenreuter guy. Let's have a guy who's just called
Futz.
Futz. Yeah, sure. That's a silly name. Like
Futz.
So we're talking about like another one of these knights, like like a high level knight, like Larek. Yeah. So as soon as I hear the name Futz, I think of like the Village Idiot, like a big baby Huey dude who is just like smashing toys.
How about this? How about the reason he's one of the champions? He was just fucking shot in the head at one point. So he has like, picture like part of his head, almost like Kano from Mortal Kombat, how he's got like the cybernetic eye. Picture if like that wrapped around the side of his head, but there was all these fucking electrodes like sticking out and constantly like sparking. And he was just like, nah! Like just twitchy and fucking crazy. And like, yeah, with like, he's the type of guy that would like jump from his bird to your bird and bite your fucking ear off. Like he's just a lunatic, but he's a killer. Like this guy is brutal as fuck. So just like a psychotic little gremlin of a man.
Yeah, no, I like that better than my idea. Yeah, it's like they should like literally let him off of a leash, like
Absolutely. Like he's got
animal.
Shackles. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, so day 2 we have to have Miller meet up with his brother. Let's have his brother just be Bill, right? So his brother's just Bill Miller, and just enough to have them face off, and hell, maybe Bill gets his egg and is just peace out, motherfucker, and just whatever. Like I don't want Miller to join the Wastelanders. He just wanted to prove that he could best his brother who did win before.
Right.
But yeah, Janice is gonna fight the Futz.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Like, so because remember she's gonna get she's gonna be the only one that walks away from this. So what if we have Hendricks going? He has to go after Kutlarek, of course, because now he's blind with rage. He wants to kill him. I want to have Kutlarek cheat. So maybe he does something like, Hendricks is coming right at him, and he goes to joust at him, and maybe fucking Kutlarek like either throws a dagger at him or has like some kind of weapon that shoots, and just literally fucking cheats and takes the kid's head off, and he just falls into the lava. So like the crowd below is like, boo, like freaking out
Mhm.
because he just fucking murdered a kid, like against the tournament rules. But
Mhm.
like, Python is just watching from his little perch and just kind of nods like he'll allow it type of thing.
Oh.
So yeah, people are like fucking furious now.
Oh, hell yeah. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that just brings me back to this whole Miller brother thing, because I was trying to figure out what the resolution of that drama is. You just gave it to me, which is the opposite of that. Like, Miller sees that happen, finally gets a chance to go toe to toe with his brother, and he just jumps on the dude right on his buzzard. Like, he lets his own bird go, jumps on his brother Bill's like buzzard, and just fucking chokes the shit out of him. They crash into a platform, and you see Miller just choke the life out of his own brother. Like, you stupid motherfucker. He gets up like exhausted and like kind of sad, but still like, he got his revenge for his brother who abandoned him. And then this is where we see the futs, like where, maybe Troll is holding him literally on a leash. He lets the leash go, and like the futs just like launches down from above, like lands right on Miller, like his feet into his shoulders, and like fucking crushes the dude and then rips him to pieces. Like, oh, you broke the rules.
Fuck. Oh, I love that. That's all. Yeah, because it's almost like, in a weird way, I know it's not the lava troll, but it's almost like the penalty of the troll, where if you flew too close to the lava repeatedly, it would eventually grab you. So it was like,
Nice.
you're kind of breaking the rules. So like Miller jumps off, breaks the rules, and then the troll's like, yep, I'm gonna let the futs go, and he just jumps on and fucking rips this dude apart. So, but yeah, so we could have like that happens, that's happening. Maybe Angelo gets killed by one of the other knights. Let's
Mhm.
have Janice like just dodge out of the way at the right time, like like Cutlaric misses her. She takes out one of the other knights, spins back around and actually and rightfully whatchamacallit, knocks Cutlaric off of his bird. So she doesn't kill him, but she takes him down. And
Mhm.
like in front of everybody, like it wasn't like a drop from behind like Hendrix, because Hendrix got the drop on him on the first round. Like
Mhm.
Cutlaric was chasing after Janice, and Hendrix got the drop on him. So that's what pissed off Cutlaric. Like, you didn't face me, you didn't face me like a man, that type of thing. Well, Janice fucking does face him like a man and kicks his fucking ass. And then like picture like him falling to one of the platforms and her flying down with her stork and like taking the lance and like pulling the satchel with the egg like off of
Mhm.
him and like raising it above him, so like the crowd goes fucking wild. Like, and again, Python nods like, he'll allow it. maybe
Yeah.
he like hits the eye of a tar, like, she's the winner type of thing.
It'd be cool if Carleric jumps up and just says, maybe he yells after her, like, "You stupid bitch, I'll give my egg back just like before. You ain't nothing," whatever. And then this is when we hear Python speak for the first time. Have him, like you said, he slams like the scepter down, and have him say something like, "Let it stand. She is the champion." And then you see
Yeah.
Carleric just like, he like kicks rocks, like, "Ah, god damn it, motherfucker." Like
Right.
he's gotta like, the boss man told him to, fucking take your toys and go home, bro, and like let it go.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's like you're pretty much fucked. He's already watching. He saw, he knows what happened before. You don't want to piss off Python. So because he might let the troll or futs come after you. You know. But yeah, so maybe again at that night you have like the town is both mourning and cheering, because it's like, lost quite a bit of players in that match, but holy shit, like the champion got taken down. So like, and again, like Python said, no, like you are the champion. It wasn't like before where Hendrix got the drop on him.
Yeah.
So now maybe, and then during this celebration, maybe this is where we can have like Pterodactyl and the troll and Futz. Hell, maybe like a bunch of the Wastelanders like come to the center of town, and you had mentioned like he reads from like the official rules. Like maybe he like unfurls a scroll and is saying like, rule whatever, blah blah blah. There shall be no day 3 if only one player remains. That type of thing. And then he like looks out and he's like, you have 24 hours to find a new champion or we win. And then they walk away. So it's like, the town is freaking out. Like, what do we do? Like, they're going to take more taxes. Maybe that's at stake too. Like maybe if the Wastelanders win, like completely win, then they up the ante of what the villagers have to give them.
Ooh, I like
So
that. Yeah. Well, let's add another like little wrinkle of drama here. Yeah, when they unroll the scroll and read that rule, the rule is that you're down to one player one champion. Lord Python has decreed that you are the rightful winner of day 2. There's no reason to have a day 3. Accept this egg and let the games be over. But Janice is just like slaps the egg out of like dude's hand and is like, fuck that, like I want the crown, like. And that,
okay.
right, and then that's when this messenger or one of these mini boss guys is just like, okay, well, or maybe he says like, the rule still stands, like, whether you accept the egg or not, like we can't have a day 3, you need another player, and don't forget, if we win, the whole shebang, it's double taxes for the rest of the harvest season or whatever. So kind of double down on the threat. So not only is Janice prideful because she really wants to keep going and like kick some ass and doesn't want to have to quit, like she doesn't want their stupid booby prize, so
Right.
but at the same time it's like, well, the village's future is on the line here, so now she has all the more reason to convince Newcomer, who of course has been hearing all of this the whole time, and he's got inner turmoil about it, but is still trying to mind his own business. And maybe with the next time we see him, he's packing up Ozzy and is like, I'm out of here, like I'm going, like I'm not sticking around for another night. I'll travel in the dark if I have to get out of here.
Right. Yeah. We could have like maybe some of the townsfolk, maybe they're begging him because they see Ozzy, like how armored up he is, like I mean he's this huge fucking bird. So they're like begging him, and maybe Janice comes up to him and like tells him, like, you've seen what we live with. You see how it is for the people here. Like we need to take them down. We need to stop them. I didn't join this just to take care of my family. That's what everyone thinks, but I joined this to stop the tyranny. Like, maybe she's like trying to like convince him that if he leaves, this whole town is fucked. And it's like, so now he's like, fuck, like, the guilt trip, like, damn. Let me backtrack for a moment. One thing that we should have shown like early on is we should have shown like Newcomer be a badass, because why would these people want him to lead them or lead them to victory or join them in their victory if they didn't think he could fucking fight? So maybe we could have something like in day 2, we could have some kind of fight break out, and he either stops it or breaks it up, or like kicks the shit out of whoever the aggressor was. So it doesn't really matter. We just need some kind of fight scene with Newcomer.
Yeah, so let's combine it with the scene where Cutler comes in and like takes the egg back from Hendrix. Like have a little scuffle break out, right? And of course Newcomer's there, like close enough to not be involved, but like close enough to be forced into being involved. So yeah, maybe we just have one of the other guys who's there with Cutler, one of the other knights in this little like punk crew. Maybe he sees Newcomer, he sees a necklace or one of the many like accessories that he has, and it's like, who are you, like new guy, like you got to pay up your dues too. I haven't seen you give any taxes. Oh, that jewel on your neck will do just fine. He reaches for it, and Newcomer just like sidesteps it, and he's like, what the fuck? And the guy goes to grab it again, and he sidesteps it. Very like pacifistic martial arts, but it escalates quickly to like, by the end of it, he takes down like 3 of them, barely touches them, but he takes down 3 guys with like carefully aimed like karate chops or kicks to like sensitive like areas or something,
right?
And it's like, oh shit, the dude barely broke a sweat and took down 3 of these guys.
Dude, okay, hold up. So all of that, right? And Kutlarik is watching this whole thing. Like maybe at this point he hasn't harmed Hendrix's dad. He was just demanding back the egg, and he sees like Newcomer kick the shit out of a bunch of his men, and like the tavern is cheering, everyone's excited about it, and then this is where like maybe he like crushes his dad's hand, takes the egg back, and then looks like he's like, let this be a lesson to all of you, and he points at Newcomer, and then he cuts the dad's throat, and he's like, you don't raise a hand to us, like that kind of like it's your fault. So now fast forward back to the night where they read the decree of the new rule, and it's like, what are we gonna do? Maybe Janice could even be like, you owe this to Hendrix, like he wouldn't have died if he didn't if he didn't lose his dad. He lost his dad because you, like, we could fucking lay on the guilt thing.
Hell yeah, dude, I'm all about this. Yeah, lay it on deep.
Right.
And just as a little extra little piece of fun prior to that drama, like during this little fight when Newcomer takes these 3 guys out, you got to have like the third guy get up and pull a knife to go up behind Newcomer, and before Newcomer spins around, you just see Ozzy fucking kick the dude into a wall, like,
yes.
like one of those brutal cassowary kicks, like fuck that guy.
Fuck yeah. And like maybe he kicks him with like the robo leg so the dude goes fucking flying.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see Ozzy start squawking and like, he puts his like little wings up and starts like going like inching toward the guy, and Newcomer is just like, down boy. And then Ozzy's, you see it in his like little ostrich expression is like, oh man, I was having fun.
Right. like he just gives like a quick whistle without even looking, and Ozzy's like, oh man.
Yeah, man,
Like,
I haven't done shit since I've been in town. Fuck.
right. This is the first guy I got to fuck up. But so Janice, basically does the whole thing where she's like, you owe it to Hendrix, you owe it to all of us, like you see what we're living with, blah 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 blah, and then like have it still look like he ain't gonna join, of course. So the next day rolls around, we got the troll and fucking pterodactyl and Futz and all, they're all standing by the gate waiting to see the champions, and like Janice comes out of the crowd, and they're like, just you little miss, like that type of thing, and then the crowd parts, and that's when we see Newcomer on Ozzy, and maybe like this is where he's wearing the tournament armor. So
nice.
Comes riding up, and everyone's like, ah!
Yeah. Oh, perfect. And of course he's got to have like something of Hendrix's. Like he's got Hendrix's tournament armor on. Like
there we go.
Maybe something that was like, that of course Hendrix would have his like painted up all fancy because he was really into the whole thing, right? He really wanted to compete. So yeah, that would be awesome. He rolls up in Hendrix's armor, and Ozzy is just like snorting upon the ground like a bull, like ready to go.
Right. Yes. So of course we're gonna see like the troll's gonna look pissed. He's gonna look up at Python, and Python's gonna be watching from his little tower, and just again like nod, and then like slam the scepter, and it's like they open the gates and let him in. So the two, so Janice and Newcomer like enter the arena, and this is the one where we're gonna have to see like obviously well Kudlyar got defeated, so we're gonna have maybe this is like the champion match. So it is like pterodactyl and the troll and Futz.
Yeah, what I'm picturing is now it's day 3, and they're supposed to up the ante every day. So now it's like every night, every wastelander, basically everybody except for Python is out there. And so as soon as they like, they blow the horn and Python slams the Eye of Atar and the gates open, it's like this fucking storm of buzzards all in the air. Some of them don't even have riders on them, just like wild birds like circling, just like a
nice.
like a tornado of like cybernetic buzzards and knights, and they're like shooting arrows, and it's like Newcomer and Janice aren't just jumping up the platforms for like a one-on-one fight. Like it's the fucking gauntlet now. Like they're dodging arrows and like slashing buzzards like left and right with whatever weapons they have. Like this is gonna be a trial of attrition to get up those platforms. So
yes.
just so they can get up to the 3 mini bosses that they have to get through. So day 3 is no joke.
Well, and maybe that's the thing, like, because remember in the game, like the platforms fall away. So it could even be that like where as they run up the platforms are falling. So now they have the floor falling away. You have buzzards coming at them. You got the wastelanders like outside the arena fucking shooting arrows at them. So like they're dodging shit. They're killing birds. They're jumping off of falling platforms. And once they get to the top, it's like the eye of the storm type of thing, where it's like you just see the 3 champions up there, and like that, like what if you make it there, they give you one last chance to stand down or to fight. So it's like, they make their way, maybe like on the way up, like, we're going to have some drama here. So maybe Janice almost gets hit, and like we see like Newcomer like knock the arrow out of the way, but maybe Ozzy takes a hit because of it. Like, so like they're getting injured on their way up, but they both make it. They make it all the way to the top, much to the joy of the crowd below.
Yeah, there has to be at least one scene where like Newcomer is like teetering, like about to fall or something, and Janice has to swoop in and like save him. We can't just have him be a complete Mary Sue where he can do everything perfectly. Like and of course she's got to come in too, because she can save him, and then that way he's going to save her, and they're a team now. And I really think that she needs to face off against Futz or the Futz or whatever we call them. Like it's got to be like when they get up to that platform, it's like you have one last chance. Like you you take your prize that you won and you go back down, or you shoot for the moon. And so of course I don't know, should they just like look at each other and like silently nod or something, or
I think they should have to do something like that if they agree to fight, like they raise their lance, like so something like that. So they like look at each other and like look back at them, and then they raise their lances, and the fucking crowd goes nuts. Python nods, and it's fucking on.
Yeah, and of course this is when the futz just like jumps at him like a split second after the crowd cheers. Here comes the futz. Like he's not fucking around, like he jumps on him like a spider monkey. Maybe he like knocks Janice to the ground and is just like going crazy on her. And of course, Newcomer's going to turn to help, and she's going to yell like, "No, I got him. Like, keep going. Like, don't turn your back on those other two guys. Wave him on." And because I definitely want to have Newcomer and Pterodactyl fight. Like that's the fight I've been waiting for the most.
Right.
And of course, Janice is going to best the futz. And I want it to be something like silly, like she's like fighting off his like slashes and bites, and he's getting her like and she's bleeding from all these like little cuts, and she finally just gets pissed off and like knees him in the nuts and like kicks him off the platform.
I think okay, so I love that, but let's have like like you said, as soon as it starts, he jumps on her and they start fighting. Maybe Newcomer goes to try to help her and like fucking gets walloped by Pterodactyl, like, and so they start fighting. So and the whole time like the troll is just like watching, like as his two like lesser generals are kicking the shit out of these guys. So while Janice is fighting futz, like what I'm picturing is like I love the knee and the nuts, and while he's like like maybe screeching, she grabs some of the wires in his fucking head and just rips him out, so he starts like twitching and freaking out, and then nice. Fucking kicks him into the lava below. So
nice.
Fuck him, he's out. and then so to your point, Pterodactyl and Newcomer have to fight that. So they're fighting. Maybe Janice, like while that's happening, she's picking up her lance and she looks at the troll, like she's coming for him next, type of thing.
Yeah, maybe this is the first time we see her go, oh shit, the first time that she's a little bit afraid, because he's very intimidating. Like he's a big guy. And again, it's hard to like choreograph this like step by step, but I really want Pterodactyl and Newcomer to be going at it. Newcomer's on Ozzy, and of course Ozzy's like slashing with his like big bird talons and flapping his wings and pecking, and all the while Pterodactyl's like swooping around in circles and just slashing and diving and slashing and getting away. At one point I want him to knock Newcomer off of Ozzy, like he finally got the upper hand. He comes down for the kill, but then you see Ozzy like run up behind him, like smack Pterodactyl with his big neck, and then when Pterodactyl flies up, this will be like a cool surprise where you see Ozzy like look up at Pterodactyl, who's like in the sky, like recouping for a second. Ozzy, he activates like some kind of a switch on his back with his wing, and like the saddle straps open up, the saddle and all that stuff like falls off of it, and underneath it are these like glider wings that come out, and then Ozzy just runs for the end of the platform, launches, and he's fucking flying. He's a flying ostrich, and he's going to fly up and fucking take Pterodactyl out.
Nice. I'm picturing like a little jet engine on the back of his robotic leg, like Rah!
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah, dude! And Pterodactyl is just, his eyes are gonna go wide in terror, like he has no idea what to do,
So then so Ozzy fucking rips him apart. Like maybe he could even like grab him with both talons, like both feet, and just tear him in half. Just.
Oh yeah, exactly. And the next time we see Ozzy, he's got that little like pterodactyl skull on his head. Like, look at my new hat.
Yes. Oh my god. So that fight's happening, but meanwhile we got Janice and the troll facing off. So maybe the troll is besting her. Like he's really giving her what for. So because I want to have Newcomer join in the fight and like it still be a challenge. Like for the the two of them trying to take down the troll on the top platform, it's still fucking tough. So, and I don't know why I keep picturing this. Maybe it's because, again, you'd mentioned Turbo Kid, but I already mentioned that the troll should have these like big metal gauntlets. What if one of them is a cybernetic fucking hand that can fucking like launch off on a chain?
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. And maybe he's got like all these like pouches, and he's like inside. Maybe the pouches are full of like gold and jewels and stuff. Like he's like a cave troll. He's like carrying his like hoard around with him.
Yeah.
And the only reason I mention it is at one point you have to have Janice like slash him with this lance, and like it cuts through his like belt of like his hoard pouches, and they spill out. And one of the things that spills out is Murphy the barkeep's severed hand with the ring still on it. And like this is when Janice is just like, oh, this motherfucker's going down. Like she
you
is
son
pissed.
of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like okay, so like yeah, so that happened. Like she just slashes the thing. We see the hand. They're fighting. I want to have him launch the fist at Newcomer, and like maybe it like fucking clocks him, like sends him flying, like to maybe like almost teeters off of one of the platforms, right? And then he goes to retract it and have Ozzy stomp on the fucking chain with his robot leg and start squawking and flapping. So now the troll is trapped, and then fucking Janice starts beating the shit out of him while he's and so he's trying to like fend her off with one hand, and then we get Newcomer, maybe he comes running in, grabs one of his fucking daggers and like jumps up and stabs him in the fucking neck. So now it's like you just got the two of them beating the holy hell out of the troll, and maybe they should be more savage than him. Like have them just start clawing and ripping. Like we see jewels and gold is like falling off of the platform, like showering down below.
Yeah, and I'm picturing Janice, who, by the way, has been on her stork this whole time, right? But maybe the troll like reaches up at the end in this like flurry. He reaches up and grabs the stork and like crushes it. Janice jumps off, but when she jumps off, she grabs onto one of these chains I mentioned that he was wearing as like accessories. And so while the troll is like momentarily distracted, but also like getting slashed and beat on by Newcomer, Janice just like she swings on this chain, jumps up around his shoulder, wraps around his neck, and like fucking Jabba the Hutt's that motherfucker by chokes him out with his own chain.
Nice. I love it. So yeah, bye bye troll.
This is fun.
I know, right? I'm really digging this story. So now the troll, he's going to be taken down. And again, I should have mentioned this earlier, but I don't know how you're picturing the arena, but I'm picturing this like, the concentric spiral, like you said, but I'm also picturing like weird screens kind of hanging around the town, almost like Running Man style, like where you just get like, so the crowd is watching. So yeah, so like they can see like the view we see is from like a little below the platform where we see all the, the gold and stuff showering down, and then, have like Janice and Newcomer like step into frame. And of course the crowd goes wild because they actually fucking defeated the generals. And now for the first time ever, they have the chance to fight against Python. Like somebody in town has a chance.
Yeah. And so we're Newcomer and Janice are going to like, stand like shoulder to shoulder. Now they're on foot because the stork got crushed. Ozzy's on his own. He doesn't have a saddle anymore because he's got like glider wings that are coming out of his back. But yeah, you have Newcomer and Janice like stand side by side. And maybe at this point, you see a bunch of little platforms move and they form like a stairwell that's going to go up to that like balcony where Python has been. And maybe you just see him, maybe he just puts up a hand, doesn't say anything, but he like waves his fingers like come, and so they're going to head up the stairs, but and I want Newcomer or Janice, one of them, to like hesitate for a second and turn around and look down at the village, and they see like the whole village. They were watching on those screens and stuff, but now there's a whole bunch of them who are like outside, like at the gates, like cheering outside, like at the foot of these platforms. And I want to kind of position them there. But yeah, we have to now go up and like face Python. So is there going to be some kind of like are we going to talk to Python, or is it going to be like right into the fray?
I think there should be something at least like maybe Python gives like his little, villain speech that they always give. Maybe I'm saying something along the lines of like, I never thought anyone would make it this far. Not since King Williams has anyone been even worthy for my, for me to shed blood from. Something like I don't know how to say it, but some kind of stupid villain speech, and then have him just fucking rush him. Like, I want to have, like, almost seem like he's going to do the James Bond. Like, I expect you to die, Mr. Bond. Like, I want to have that, but then just, like, almost like the, fuck it. And then, boom, just run at him or rush right at him. Very, very Negan style.
Yeah, oh, exactly. I'm sorry. I have to jump in right here because I have had this idea that I've been holding on to, and I'm so excited for it. Right? Yeah. So he doesn't just rush at them. What happens is like he goes to like stand up, like he's been like sitting on a throne or something at this balcony the whole time, but he doesn't stand up. Instead, he like starts extending. Instead of legs, he has these concentric bands that are like unfolding like a slinky, and he's getting taller and taller. And then you realize that he doesn't have legs. He has a giant robotic snake tail, like fucking Globulus from the Cobra Law in the G.I. Joe movie.
Fuck yes. Absolutely. Oh, that's badass. And see, now I'm picturing like him scrambling at them, like on his fucking belly, like crawling forward really fast with his hands with his fucking robo tail, like slithering and slapping all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be awesome.
That'd be fucking terrifying. Like, what the hell?
And so, yeah, it's like this, it's this, one-on-one or one-on-two fight. It's a fair fight, but yeah, he's got this giant tail. He's whipping it around. He's screaming. Maybe he's got like double scimitars or something like brutal that he's swinging around. And, and Newcomer and Janice, like they've managed to hold on to, she has a lance and he has a dagger, and that's about it,
Right.
And maybe at one point, like, Ozzy tries to fly in and you just see, oh yeah, this is perfect. Ozzy tries to fly in at some point to like save Newcomer in like the last second when he's about to get stabbed, and Python turns and slashes Ozzy like right across the chest, cuts into his wing. He goes crashing down onto one of the platforms, and this is where you hear the crowd down at the bottom of all these platforms just start booing and yelling and hissing like unfair, unfair. And eventually I want that crowd to like rush. They're gonna rush this arena because not only is Python brutal, but he's fighting unfairly. And like, why are the villagers just going to stand around and watch as two people like get their asses kicked by this like dark lord when at this point there's nothing stopping them from just rushing the stage?
Right, exactly. Like the generals are dead. Some of his most powerful men are out of the picture. Like, yeah, there's still wastelanders. There'd be like the average soldier, I guess. But at this point, their numbers are lower than the villagers. It's just that they've always ruled with an iron fist, and the villagers have kind of accepted it. But now that they have a glimmer of hope, fuck yeah, they're going to start rushing the ramparts and taking these motherfuckers down.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're going to grab the buzzards and grab the armor, and they're going to start rushing up there because they're going to come and like join in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Oh, I love that. So yeah. So we'll have that's. I mean, I'm already picturing what was it the Siege of Gondor from Lord of the Rings, where we see like all of the different knights fighting the Uruk-hai and the orcs and all that, but we keep seeing like the main characters, like we see Legolas and Gimli and all them like running amidst the crowd of battles. So that's kind of what I'm picturing. Like we still have Newcomer and Janice battling Python, but we have all of these villagers fucking cutting down and slashing and shooting fucking wastelanders, and some villagers are getting thrown off the side of the building, getting chucked into lava. They're falling off the platforms. So it's just utter chaos all around. But yeah, of course, we're gonna have to, take out Python. So
oh yeah. See, I don't know exactly how, because I feel like if Newcomer is the savior who came to this town, it would make sense for him to like defeat the big bad. But what I would prefer to do is have Newcomer like get the upper hand on Python, like get him on the ropes, but then have Janice like come from behind for the killing blow.
Honestly, I had something similar in mind, but so hear me out. So we have, I'm picturing this big battle going down. Janice and Newcomer are fighting Python, but now because the villagers are revolting, we have the wastelanders jumping in, and now the fucking tournament's off. Now it's just war. So it's like, you have, so Janice and Newcomer also have to watch their back from the wastelanders who want to save their ruler. So they're like, they keep coming to help. So they're, they're fighting a war on two fronts basically. And, so like I want to have like you said, Newcomer get the upper hand. Maybe he fucking stabs Python in the face like with his dagger, he takes out one of his eyes or something, and like Python's hurting, and he's fucking he beats the shit out of Newcomer, like maybe wraps him with his snake tail and starts like squeezing him. Janice jumps in and gets a couple good hits in. Fucking Python knocks her aside, and he's just like screeching, and like he's like ready to kill them both, and have the fucking villagers just rush him. and just start
yeah.
like a fucking swarm of ants, and he's like screaming as they're like, and they're just ripping plates of armor off him like with their bare fucking hands, like ripping pieces of him off, and he's just like screeching, almost like in Day of the Dead, where the guy's like vocal cords get high, like that, but it's like that, but it's like all robotic, so with like all the cybernetics that are in him are like breaking, and we hear him screeching, and they just, so it wasn't Newcomer. Newcomer was all he was the ignition point. That's all it was. He wasn't the hero. Like, so it's like, yeah, he's just the newcomer to town. The fucking villagers end up saving themselves in the end.
That's perfect. I absolutely love that. That's like the perfect final stroke. Like, I don't even know that we can even say any more than that. You know, like, obviously, you know, we got to wrap the movie up, and there's got to be, you know, the sad music that plays as like newcomer leaves town, you know, like Shane to wander off in the wilderness again. But yeah, this is the perfect ending.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, sometimes the singular hero coming to town is kind of a tired trope, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I agree. I think this is great. Yeah, we don't need a savior. They just needed someone to help. That's all they really needed. That's all Newcomer really did. He never really did anything except, you know, volunteer to stand in for one of the other villagers to take, you know, the place of the second fighter on that second day. And of course, you know, he kicked some ass, but he didn't really do anything that one of them couldn't have done.
Right. It's like all he was really was the lighter that lit the fuse. So it's just, it's like they had the ability to do this all along, but no one dared to stand. You know, no one dared to stand up against Python and his men because it seemed like overwhelming odds, even though they outnumbered them. You know, but once they saw the generals get taken down, it's like, we can do this. We can take these motherfuckers down. So
yeah, we got this.
The people saved themselves. I like that. But so yeah, so we have like, you know, they rip Python apart. You know, we see the villagers. Maybe the villagers, you know, get the upper hand on the Wastelanders, and like the Wastelanders start freaking out, like, you know, like thinking they're going to get killed, right? And then, you know, maybe like Janice comes to the forefront, you know, as one of the two, you know, champions. And basically tells them, like, we're not going to kill you. You can either leave or live amongst us as part of our community. You know, kind of like basically brings them into the fold and tells them, like, yeah, you know, we don't trust your ass, but if you prove yourself, we ain't going to kill you or send you out to die in the wastes.
I love it.
So, and then we should almost have like, I'm maybe not like a queen, but I feel like Janice should be almost like, again, Maggie at Hilltop, where it's like the power was kind of thrust on her because she showed that you can fight back. So she's like kind of creating a community, but also kind of leading them. And then we could fast forward and kind of like to show our little, you know, our ending sequence here. Fast forward and we see the town is flourishing. Janice is talking to Newcomer, maybe like, you know, thanking him for his help, telling him like, you could live here with us if you want. You don't have to go. Maybe we see like Ozzy is patched up, you know, he's got like some bandages across his chest, and, you know, and you know, they give Newcomer some gear, and he decides to move on to the next town for Joust 2, Survival of the Fittest. No,
yeah, I know. I love that. Yeah, and we haven't heard Newcomer talk that much, other than like, you know, leave me alone. He's kind of like, you know, Wolverine, you know, like sitting at the bar, like, you know, fuck off, bub.
Exactly.
But right here at the end, we should have him say, he's basically says that he's just sticking around long enough for Ozzy to be like ready to travel, and then like they're gonna go, you know, and maybe like Janice and Newcomer like look over Ozzy, and you see him again, he's all bandaged up, and maybe he's got like that pterodactyl skull kind of like sideways on his head, and maybe he just goes like, ooh, ow, I'm so hurt, you know, you know, like kind of like, you know, he doesn't want to leave, you know, he likes it there.
Right. He's like,
but of course, you know, Newcomer's he's got to hit the road. You know, he's like, I don't belong here. Like, I'm searching for, you know, my home or my family or my purpose or whatever it is. Yeah, so I don't know that we ever really like knew what his purpose or his mission was, other than, you know, he's just on the road. You know, he's just the lone wanderer, or like the legend of like the wandering Jew, you know, which is a mythological story about, you know, a guy who's like forever in search of like, you know, the Holy Land.
Right. Yeah, no, I think, and I kind of like that he was never really the main character. He was the audience's way to get to the town, and then he was the audience viewing the tournament. So he was the analog for the audience.
Yeah, he's the player, right? He's
Yeah.
player one, really, and that's why it's kind of cool that we never really gave him a name. He's just newcomer. He never even introduced himself. He never said much because, yeah, he's not really anything other than he's the person playing the arcade cabinet, getting involved in the action, but not like
Mhm.
really living there.
Exactly. So no, I dig that. Yeah. So and he leaves the town better than how he found it. It's the townsfolk are in a better place, and he moves on to his next adventure.
And roll credits. We fade to black as he wanders off in the horizon, and the sad music plays.
Exactly. I gotta be
Or
honest, dude. Like, I didn't think it was gonna go in this direction, but I really had fun with this one.
Yeah, dude, this was awesome. Yeah, I definitely knew that we were going to do something, kind of like silly dystopian. Like, let's have some fun with like a jousting tournament on over like a lava pit or whatever. Like, that was all kind of implicit in the whole concept. But yeah, this went to some really interesting places. Yeah, and I had some vague idea in the back of my head that we would have newcomer be this sort of, like I mentioned Robin Hood at the beginning, but this sort of like figure who would inspire the villagers to like rise up in like a peasant revolt. And like we kind of did that at the very end, but I was really thinking that would be like the third act of the story, in my head when we were just brainstorming at the beginning. But I really like that we stuck to the jousting tournament all the way to the end, and which is really more than I thought we were going to be able to do to like stretch that idea out. But like
Right?
we definitely put some cool stuff in there.
Yeah. No, I really like where this went. But it's funny because this has happened to us every single time we have done a video game movie. Like, I had no idea that Centipede was going to become like such a cool sci-fi horror story. I had no idea that Pac-Man was going to be like fucking Event Horizon. Like, it was dark as shit. Um, or like when we did Monopoly, I know it's not a video game, but we did Monopoly. We both talked about like how crazy it was that we just kind of like did a Save the Youth Centers type of story where we haven't really seen those types of movies in forever. So it's just, I love these episodes where we're basing it on a property that exists but has no story. Like, I
Yeah, it's
really have fun with those.
me too. I like being able to take like a very limited amount of inspiration, like from Snakes and Ladders, again, another board game example, or even Trouble. It's like you have this very limited amount of inspiration where you have to make it work so that it can still be like an adaptation of the original property. Like we can't change so much that it's unrecognizable. So you have to have snakes and you have to have ladders. But it's like where do you make a story out of that? And yeah, I think it forces us to get a little bit creative. And some of these video game ones, it's really the artwork. The Centipede one and this one, it was the artwork on the arcade cabinet that gave us the inspiration. But yeah, this one turned out really well. And like Pac-Man, I honestly didn't even really want to do Pac-Man. You kept suggesting it almost since like the beginning of the show, the beginning of the
Yep.
podcast, and I kept saying, I don't really know, like I don't really care about Pac-Man. And like there's been movies and cartoons and all kinds of stuff that have done stuff with Pac-Man. Like what else is there to say? But then we did this really cool like survival horror story, and we were 20, 30 minutes into it, and I was getting really excited. And that's like one of my favorite episodes we've done this season.
Same. It's like, and I think that's why I wanted to do it so bad, because I kept thinking like it's such a weird idea. It is gonna make us like go to some strange places, which I think that's my favorite part about doing this show. Like, again, the Vangabus of Death and coming back for the sequel. Like, that's a really weird fucking place to go, but that is some of the most fun I've had. Same thing with Hot Garbage. Like,
Yeah.
and I know those are original ideas, but those are ideas that were based on an existing thing that we just went fucking apeshit with.
Yeah. And I didn't even want to do a follow-up to Hot Garbage. I really thought it was like this like perfect little thing. Like it was like this little miracle of a story that we pulled out of like a meme, and I just really thought it was so much fun. But then thinking about doing a follow-up or a prequel, it goes back to this concept that we mentioned in a couple of our Rental Rant episodes, and in some of our like actual original improvs like we've done when we've had like Sam and Michael May come on, where if we were just allowed to do anything, like I don't know that we would ever settle on anything good, but like having limitations where, okay, I have goals and rules that I have to follow, it really sparks the creativity to be more creative, right?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
Like with Bad Rubbish, it was like, okay, well, how do I create the haunted dumpster? Like, I don't know. Like, that's weird. Like, it's a weird problem to solve, but solving it becomes like the fun of the story that I never thought I was going to tell.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, we've gotten some great feedback on those particular types of episodes. So I think the listenership would agree that those are some of the best ones because they force us to be really creative. You know, and we know we've had a few stinkers along the way, or a few less than stellar stories, but I think a lot of those are when we get caught too much in the weeds of like, well, it has to be within this movie universe, or it has to be, like we have to adhere to these rules. Whereas we take something like Hot Garbage, like where it was literally a meme. How do you fucking tell a story out of a meme? Or like Joust. Again, it's a fucking arcade game where, knights riding giant birds like kill each other and turn them into eggs. Like it has no fucking story at all. But you have visual elements and ideas, so you have that freedom of creativity, but it's not full freedom. It's not like one of our just made up off the cuff, like when I did Skin Deep and you did the oh my god, why can't I think of the name of the Dog Hammer, right?
Never Kill the Dog.
Never Kill the Dog, but Dog Hammer was the bad guy. Am I remembering that right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dog Hammer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what
Dog
I thought.
Hammer. That was originally the title of the story. It was originally called Next Door, the comic book version that I was writing, and then it was called Dog Hammer because I just think that's a great fucking name. But I couldn't pass up the chance to steal the idea from you at the Boogeyman's Closet crew to have a story called Never Kill the Dog, because that's just such a great phrase. But yeah, so Dog Hammer is the bad guy, and there is a follow-up to that. There's actually two that I had planned for graphic novel stories, but like, hey, whatever, maybe we can revisit it someday.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But see, but again, with those stories, those are original stories that we've kind of created out of the ether where there was no limitations. And while those are still really fun to do, I think there's something about having a limitation on you that forces you to flex creatively in ways that your brain might not normally go. I always say that with some of my commission work. Like I recently had done the poster work for the Amazing Fantasy Fest here in Buffalo, and the only thing that I was told was that it has to be a collage, and that it needs to be a series of sci-fi, horror, fantasy, action, whatever characters throughout cinema, and to please include some of Frank Henenlotter's work. Those were the only instructions I had. So I just got to pull from everywhere. Like, and I had the most fun drawing that because I was just like, sure, I'll put the giant stone head from Zardoz in here. Why the fuck not? Like, and it was so damn fun. So I think when we get to tell stories like this, these are some of our most enjoyed ones because we do have to work within a box, but it's a pretty roomy box. It's
pretty comfortable. Yeah, and that was a great poster, by the way. Yeah, that was really, really cool.
Thank you.
So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap this up here. We've gone on a lot longer than I expected an episode about a storyless video game would go, and as does tend to be the case. And actually, as I say that, I'm like, is it longer than the other ones we've done? I have to check the Pac-Man episode, but it's already longer than Street Fighter and Centipede. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I thought for sure this was going to be like a quick one where we would like get in and get out. But anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. If you're still with us after all this time, we appreciate you tuning into the Raise by Rentals program. Find us online to listen to more episodes at raisedbyrentals.com and at Raised by Rentals on the socials. Of course, as we always say, we belong to the Red Pantheon, a super team of podcasters, artists, musicians, all sorts of creative people supporting each other and helping to spread the word about rad stuff. If you like this show, there's a good chance you'll dig one or all of our Rad Pantheon teammates. So check out radpantheon.com. Mike, do you have anything going on?
Well, by the time this comes out, hopefully the Boogeyman's Closet will be back with a brand new format, which I'm very excited about. And, of course, listen to Count Creepyhead's Saturday Morning Monster Mash, where three grown man children talk about pop culture and bitch about toys.
That's always a good time. And as I've always said about that show, I don't give a shit about toys, but it's a great show. It's a really, really fun podcast to listen to. You and Mike and Josh, and Mike and Josh and Mike and Josh.
Josh.
But you guys always have great conversations, like, silly ass jokes and skits and impressions. And yeah, it's a wild ride, and then hearing about the toys is, for me, it's like this weird other worlds. Like, what are you guys even talking about? You know?
And of course, without that show, would we ever have gotten the duo of Werner Herzog and Kermit the Frog? You know,
It's worth it just for that. You know, Omay, Josh, you're doing God's work.
exactly.
All right. With that, I will say thanks once again for tuning in. If you had fun with us, don't forget to visit us, drop us a line, leave a comment, leave a podcast rating. Let us know what you think we should improve next time. And with that, I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
And we have to return some videotapes. Raised by Rentals is a member of the Rad Pantheon Network. Visit radpantheon.com to support rad stuff. The theme music is Forbidden Fruit by Velvet Bethany. You can purchase music and learn more at velvetbethany.com. We have to get some quarters. My voice broke. Fuck.
Quarters.
Quarters.